course, the sun is shining on my face. Why wouldn't it? Let me see if I can hide from the sun. My containers are doing amazing. I have some annuals, have some perennials, some evergreens that are doing great. I have a nasturtium that is not quite loving it. It is what it is. But I do have a couple of containers that are definitely done for the season. I have this lace flower that is just already completely dried. It could be, you know, that it's in full sun. Maybe it doesn't really like full sun. And it could be that it's in a container, who knows. But my foxgloves, they're definitely done for the season. So I am going to be removing some of these from the containers. I got a few things yesterday from the nursery that I'm going to show you. I am very excited about a couple of them that I haven't had in my garden before. And my goodness, did you see the beginning of the video? That's basically what I have to do every time I come out here. Before I even grab my coffee outside, before I even, you know, start walking around, I have to cover myself with all of that mosquito nastiness, because otherwise I will be eaten by mosquitoes. And even though if I stay out here, you know, an hour or two, I have to come back and refresh all of that spray around me, because it's crazy. Do you guys get that too, or am I the only one? My husband and my kids can be out here like with no problems, but the minute I come outside, it's just a feast for the mosquitoes. The weeds are also taking over some of my pathways, and I have to get on that if I don't want to let them get out of control. And my gorgeous cosmos, I think they are definitely done for the season as well. So I am going to be moving a couple of things, but I am leaving others, like these roses. They have been absolutely amazing in containers. I honestly cannot believe how gorgeous and how much they keep on reblooming week after week. I went to one of my local garden nurseries here in central Indiana, Allisonville Nurseries. It's one of my favorite places here to shop locally, because they do carry a lot of selections that other places don't. And I was so lucky, you guys, to find these lamb's ears. My gosh, look at the foliage of this thing. I mean, these are not quite fully grown. They are supposed to get a little bit bigger than your normal lamb's ears. And I have never had them in my garden, and I just absolutely love the foliage. They are supposed to get a little bit sad in the summer, especially if they get a lot of water. So I am going to be thinking where I am going to put them after they are done in my containers. But this is one of the plants that I'm going to be using for the front of the garage. It's actually really sunny there right now, so that's what I am out here in front of my vegetable garden showing you these plants. But look at how gorgeous it is. Aren't these amazing? And I think, if I remember correctly, my grandmother used to cook with lamb's ear, but I'm not completely sure, so don't start, you know, adding them to your meals. So I am going to keep a couple of these in one container, and then I'll have one in another container, and then I'm just going to kind of place them around the other annuals that I have. And I think that this foliage is just going to be just amazing. The other plants that I got from there yesterday as well are these anemones, and these are the pink single anemones. I do have a bunch of them, and I love them, and they're like the double cushy puffy looking anemones. And don't get me wrong, I love them, but there is something about these single petal anemones that I just adore. And these were on sale, and I think because they look a little bit burned, and I mean, they're going to be totally fine. But look at these, you guys. The roots, I am pretty sure that this thing is like way rooted in there. Look at the anemones growing. I don't know if you can see it well in the video. I have another anemone here and here growing, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to I am not going to take this out in one piece. I'm going to come here, cut this piece of plastic around it, so that I can get some good amount of roots for this little guy here, so that I can plant it individually. So hopefully I get a couple more plants. Isn't that amazing? I love anemones. I mean, once the fall comes, and these are starting to bloom, but once the fall comes, this thing is just going to be covered in single petal pink blooms. I love anemones. I also found a few of these annuals. These are salvias, and these guys are rocking fuchsia, and I love them. These guys are now going to be going in containers in front of my garage. I actually think that these are going to be a great addition to my no-dig flower bed. If you guys remember, my no-dig flower bed got a little bit trash with all the replacing of the roof thing, which on that side is finally done, but it looks a little bit sad. So that was the reason why I went there to the store yesterday, just looking for some full big annuals that were already grown to kind of add to that bed, and I don't know, make it look a little bit better, because I still have a lot of time left in the season for that bed to thrive. So I got these lovely salvias, and I don't know, some of them are already blooming, as you can tell, and they're gorgeous. So I know that they're going to get huge. Hopefully they will thrive where I put them there in the no-dig flower bed, and they even smell like really sweet. And here's another lovely perennial that I got yesterday because I just couldn't resist. I already have a few of these. These are hardy hibiscus. These type are evening rose, and I mean, look at the blooms. How can you not fall in love with this plant? So I don't actually believe that I have the space for this shrub, or not shrub, perennial. They get huge, even though as you're looking at it, it's huge already. It's going to get bigger, especially if you keep it in the ground. So my idea is to showcase it in the garden right now for this season, next with my annuals in containers. I think that it might be a little bit too bold because I have yellows, and the honey supertunia has a nice yellow going. So I'm not really sure if it's gonna go, but I'm going to play with it, and I mean, it's going to be totally fine. Worst case scenario, if I don't find a place for this perennial in my garden, I know that my mom has plenty of space for one of these, so I know she will love it. But I am playing with the idea of placing this in one spot, but I will have to remove other plants. And anyway, I'll decide in the fall what I want to do with it. But it is gorgeous. These are absolutely gorgeous, you guys. They come in a bunch of different colors, but I think that my favorite so far is this evening rose. I mean, the color of those dark pink blooms and the dark foliage is just, I mean, what else can you ask for in a plant? So, okay, this thing is huge. So that's what I have. I am going to try to do as much today as I can. I'm definitely going to finish the containers. I don't think that I'm going to get to the no-dig flower bed with my salvias, but hopefully I can show you the end result. So I am done working and replacing and cleaning around the front of my garage, and I'm so much more in love with this area right now than with before. I removed the foxgloves and the nasturtiums that were suffering there with the lace flowers, and I moved a supertunia up, and I added containers here and there. But I love those lamb's ears. I love how clean and calming they look with everything else here. I play with the idea of adding the hibiscus, the evening rose hibiscus over here on this side, but I feel like everything is just kind of calm and petite and not as bold on this side of the garage, so I'm loving how everything looks over here. And on this side, I think that that hibiscus is just perfect against the garage with everything like the boxwood and those coleus. The coleus that I have here, I started from seed and I had it on another spot in my garden that I didn't love the look so much, so it was the perfect time for me to move it over here, and I think that it just works perfect with everything going on here. Right now, the lamb's ears are only there sitting inside of the container. I still have them in their original pots, and I don't know if I'll plant them in the container or if I'll just let them be. I'll decide that in a couple of days, but so far they're just there sitting kind of up in the air inside that container, nice and tight, and I don't mind them. The Amidara that I have here is living its best life. I have it in a container, and honestly I did not think it was going to get that tall, but it's proven to be a strong, healthy plant, and I actually had to add a stake on the side to kind of keep it going upwards because it wanted to flip over the side. And I just love the petite and romantic and just whimsical look that it gives there. And I'll definitely be trying Amidara again next year. I had success with it from seed in the winter sowing method that I showed you earlier in the year, and I am just so in love with the blooms.